Hello and welcome to our webinar. This is webinar number 34 of the Zebra BI webinar series, and today it will be a very special one. As the year is approaching the end, we kind of thought, well, let's go out with a bang. So we are doing two things at once today. First, we'll reveal some best practices in designing Power BI dashboards, KPI scorecards. We'll make them actionable. We'll show a lot of tips and tricks. And then towards the end, we'll reveal something big from Zebra BI as well. So stay with me. I hope it will be exciting for you as it is for me. And before we go there, let's say a couple of words about dashboards in Power BI. Most of the time, I see dashboards like this. So people tend to visualize the key performance indicators with those big annoying numbers, as we can see here on the top. Let me change my laser pointer. Voila. So like total amounts, gross profit margins, cost of goods sold, quantities, and so on. So your most important information is here in a big number, right? So 8 million amount, like sales or something. Is this good or bad? Well, I don't know. I don't have the comparison to plan. I don't have the comparison to previous year. I don't see the trends. So it's very hard for me to actually understand whether this is good or bad, how good, how bad, what shall we do about it, right? Do I even have to, focus my attention here? Is my attention needed? Do I need to do something here or here or here or here or here or here? So it's not actionable. It's not actionable, although it has probably all the most important information. It does not have comparisons to plans previous year and so on. So if I just check this dashboard with my four standard questions, is my sales performance now good or bad here? I don't know. How good, how bad, I have no idea. Could be 50% below the plan, could be well above the plan. Could be that my sales is growing from previous year, that I have good trends, bad trends. I have no idea. Why is it good or bad? I also don't know, even though I have all of those breakdowns by country and other, parameters. I don't know why. So what are we going to do about it? I have no idea. This is not actionable, right? We'll try to show you something a little bit different, hopefully something more actionable. Okay, so this one, this one is a little bit more detailed or a lot more detailed, which is fine. If it was also understandable and actionable, it does again have those big annoying numbers on the top, right? So it's a pattern that just repeats itself. The big annoying numbers here. Then it has some interesting charts here. So like top 5 states, top 5 employees, and so on. Like short top 5 elements exposed here. This is a nice approach that actually we recommend. But then it has a lot of filters here on the right side. All right. So what should I do now? Explore all these, spark lines. Click where? On Alabama, on Colorado, search the regions one by one, click one by one and see what's going on. I don't have the time for that. So before I click, I should actually understand where my attention is actually needed. Is it something good or bad? And then I will click, right? So also this approach is not, it has potential for improvement. Okay. And then those speedometers are also many times used in dashboards. They're very popular. However, they do, while they do show me some gaps here, right? Where is my attention? Again, my attention is here probably on the yellow color, right? Very bright, very saturated. So I look here, and oh, looks like a big gap here. But this one is only 49,000, right? And this one is 400,000, right? So maybe this one is more important than this one. I really don't know because the charts are not scaled. I just see a lot of those colorful scorecards, right, that are not scaled. Each of them has a different color. I don't know what the colors mean, so I'm kind of a little bit lost here. So instead of that, we will provide some tips and tricks and best practices how we think this could be better. So this is now an example of a dashboard, of an executive dashboard that has a KPI area here. So I have my key KPIs like EBITDA, EBIT, net earnings, free cash flow, and so on. So I can click here. This will filter my page, so I will understand what's going on with my EBITDA, like this month to date, year to date, maybe even full year, what's going to happen at the end of the year with my forecast versus plan here. Then I have a trend, fully understand not just what happened up until this month, but also what is probably going to happen by the end of the year, right? So for the rest of the year, I have a forecast here. I can compare all this to the full year plan. With that, I also have a comment about my EBITDA, right? And now I can just flip here. I will actually click, probably on the ones that are interesting for me. Why is this red? I click here, right? And then I go further, I click somewhere else, or maybe if I need really more details, I will do a drill through to another page, explore what's going on with my free cash flow here. Okay, so something going on in the Middle East and so on, then go back. And yeah, this is how a typical dashboard maybe should be or could be constructed. So we will reveal a couple of those techniques, how to structure those dashboards, and especially we will focus on the landing page of a dashboard, what to put on the landing page, where to put it, what tools in Power BI should you use in order to make those landing pages really actionable, to the point, and understandable. All right, so let me flip back to my presentation, and hopefully this will help you deliver more understandable and actionable dashboards. So I'm Andrej, founder at Zebra BI and also Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. But today we also have Mark, who will monitor your questions while I'm, presenting. So Mark, would you just say hi to our audience?
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome also from my side. I will be monitoring all your questions, so if you have them during the session, just feel free to paste them in the chat and we'll try to address them at that time. But also we will have a dedicated Q&A session at the end, so we'll address some of the questions at the end.
Great, thanks Mark. So while I'm presenting, make sure to type your questions into the questions box and we'll have a Q&A section at the end. So yeah, we saw a couple of reasons why dashboards actually fail, but I will now try to focus on how to design actionable dashboards, how to avoid those mistakes. We'll reveal some dashboard patterns and focus mostly on the landing pages, especially on KPI scorecards, how to design them, how to structure them, organize them, and so on. We'll show a couple of practical examples, and then we have something big to reveal, so we'll do it live today in like half an hour. I'll share a couple of really helpful resources and download links towards the end, and then we'll move into the Q&A section. All right, we are also recording this, so you will get the recording. If you need to drop off or something, you will also get recording later. Okay, so number one. This is something that we call the number one dashboard layout design pattern. So it's just a a design pattern that works best in I would say most of the situations where you need to construct your dashboard. So how do you approach the whole project of designing and creating your dashboards? This is a very simple pattern. Basically, you need two things. First, you need a really good landing page, right? Or the home page or the overview page, right? So this is the first page that all of your key users, end users will actually see. So you need to make sure that when you design your landing page, you have your audience in mind, right? So the landing page should be personalized, should be optimized for this group of your end users, right? If they are, if this is a sales manager, he will need an overview of the sales with all the key sales KPIs that he's responsible for. So maybe that's revenue, maybe that's gross profit, gross margin, maybe there are some conversion rates or something else, right? So you need to make sure that you know the KPIs, you select the key KPIs, you talk to the guy and then prepare this information. And then ask yourself, right, when you have those KPIs, then ask yourself, well, what does actually best describe the contribution to those KPIs? If something is good or bad, right, what will best describe the breakdown of that KPI, right? Is that a breakdown by a business unit, by some process, by account managers, or something else? And then you put those breakdowns around the KPI area and so on. So we'll talk about the rules of how to construct the landing page, but this is the first one. It should be personalized, and you should really focus, and set aside enough time to construct a really good landing page. It's probably the most important page also for the usage, for the usage rates and so on. If you do a good job with the landing page, then people will like going back to their dashboards, and mostly they will just look at the landing page and then click if it's really necessary, right? So once you have the landing page, you need to make sure that people will be able to navigate from the landing page to a detailed report if needed in one click. All right, if possible, in one click. So do not design your dashboards in a way where people have a lot of choices, a lot of filters and slicers, and they should click here, 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 here to explore everything on the first page, right? This is not the purpose of the landing page. The purpose of the landing page is to provide all the key information on one page and in 1 second on one site, right? Not with a lot of interactions, a lot of clicking around, right? You should see the most important things even before you click or set certain filters, right? And then instead of those filters, you try to provide the navigation to the detail through the content, right? So not with a lot of buttons and a lot of choices and a lot of navigation on top of the page or on the left of the page, but through the content, right? So when will I click for the details? If I'm a business user, right? I will probably click if I will see that something interesting is happening, if I'm behind the plan, in certain area, or if there are some interesting trends, if there's an outlier somewhere. So if something is happening, right, then I will click, right? So, and where I will click, I mean, it's the most natural for me to click directly on the element which displays this pattern that I'm interested in, right? Where I have my attention. So the navigation should go through the content. That's why you need drill through options in Power BI. So use the drill through in Power BI to go from the landing page to the report pages, right? The report page then will be automatically filtered for the area that I just clicked, right? And I will get more details. I will learn about the situation, gain understanding, and if needed, of course, I will browse through several pages. And then when I'm done, when I have all the information, when I have the insight, I'll be able to plan some actions, and then I can return back to my landing page. So it's a very simple, a two-step pattern from the landing page to the detail and back. So it's like a master detail pattern. All right, so let's check how this works in practice. So let me flip over to one of my examples. This is a sales dashboard now. So, all right, this is my sales dashboard. So this time you see, instead of just one number, instead of that big annoying number, right, actually have a comparison to plan, right? And I can see it here. It's written exactly how much is 0.5% versus plan. Right, yay. So it's like 0.5% above the plan, which is great. Of course, we made it. And I see it also visually here. However, my costs are also growing, right? So this is why it's important that you have several KPIs, right? The sales is not just about revenue, right? So you need to put KPIs that are somehow related, that's how somehow explain the whole situation within a specific business area, like in sales or somewhere else, right? And order them in the order of importance. So next to the revenue, maybe I need to look at my cost, or at least probably at gross profit, and probably also multiple KPIs like that. So basically you have a KPI area, right, where the KPIs are presented and so the performance of the KPIs are presented. Not just the KPIs, not just the numbers, but the performance, which is versus plan, versus previous year, maybe versus a specific benchmark, and so on, right? So this is what we call the KPI area, and this is the area of your report that should be on top left, all right? So top left, because we are reading from the top, from the left to right and from top down in most of the world, right? So, I mean, there are countries like, in the Middle East and so on, when they're reading from right to left. So maybe in your area, you need to organize it, flip it around, like mirror it and do it from right to left. But in any case, it should be on top, because this is the first information that I'm interested in, right? And then if something is going on, well, wow, why are my costs 5%, above my budget? That's not good. So, well, let's click on it. Okay, so filtering. Okay, so you need to design your filtering, right? I don't want to have a separate Power BI slicer or a filter here to change, my KPIs. Why not? Because this takes, 2 clicks. If I need to change something, I need to click once to open my selection, and then if this selection is big, I need to scroll down, and then I, need to click something. So that's already probably 2 clicks and a scroll. And then you have certain filters set here, and then you forget you actually enable those filters the next time that you look at the dashboard and so on, right? So it's much better that you actually allow people to simply click on an element directly, okay? And Power BI visuals are perfect for that, right? I mean, if they are, created in the right way, they will allow beautiful filtering experience for the users, right? So once I click, okay, my gross profit here, I see everything, of course, has filtered. So now I see my monthly trend for the gross profit. I see maybe all of my business units here. How are they doing? Gross profit by each business unit. All right, we have a problem here in the mobile business unit, right? Then I move my mouse over it, so no clicks at all. I get further explanation in my tooltip. Okay, so this is a Power BI tooltip that is called a page tooltip, right? So I'm not just displaying the regular standard Power BI tooltip, which basically just repeats all the values. All of my values are here, so I understand, that this is, how much is it here, how much below the plan, and in percentage, so 19.2% below the plan, right? I already know that, right? So now I'm interested in what's going on within my mobile business unit. So the tooltip should actually provide further information. So that's one step, like one level down. You do another breakdown and you put it in a tooltip. And what works really well is a vertical waterfall chart in a tooltip. Okay, so this is one idea. The next idea is provide a option for the drill through. All right, so if I want to explore my gross profit, maybe I have a button here and I can do a detailed, drill through. So I select this and now I have, all of my details, right? I saw that there's, some problem, with my gross profit. So that's why I wanted this information, right? And I went through my content, through my visual to a detailed page. So my gross profit, and okay, now I see there's an issue here with the electronics. So maybe let's try to sort it basically like this. This is my electronics business, right? So consistently below the plan, especially here in October and so on, right? What's going on? So I see the tablets here have the, the largest negative variance to plan. So consistently going down, especially here in November and so on. So right now, of course, it would be great if I saw further information like, exact products within my tablets business unit and so on, right? So in order for me to gain understanding, right? And then perhaps you need a couple of, a couple of clicks to understand everything, the breakdowns, the trends across, everything. Flip through a couple of pages and visuals to gain the full understanding, take action, plan some actions, and then back to the landing page, right? So it's always this cycle, and try to make it in one click, right? Because this is a really snappy and very user-friendly, experience. Okay. As you can also see here, there are a couple of comments, right? So the comments are also chronically missing from the typical dashboards. So as you can see here, if I click, what's going on with my costs, maybe somebody put in a very short comment, why are the costs growing? Well, due to the increasing prices of raw materials or whatever it is, right? If somebody actually wrote that and integrated that into the dashboard and made that dynamic, right? So somehow linked to my KPI and to specific maybe a time period or a business unit, and something that's really valuable information. All right, what else can we see on this dashboard? So the visuals around the KPI area should provide, context. All right, so context that's, that can be just the monthly charts or different types of trend charts, and then breakdown by other, data fields. So breakdown by business unit, from the most important ones to the least important ones. Not all of the, all of the business units or all of the products that you might have in your portfolio or all of the clients. Just on the landing page, keep it short. Make sure that you somehow show the ones that really contribute to the final result. So in this case, this is revenue, and I understand, all right, this product had, the biggest contribution, positive contribution to the final result. However, these were the ones that actually had the most negative contribution to the plan. And this vertical waterfall chart beautifully shows how much, right? Because there were more positive than negative ones, right? We ended up in green here for the revenue, but the situation for gross profit is slightly different, right? So if I click here on the gross profit, I see, all right, these two products were, the profitability was better than planned, but we had especially these 4-5 products that were very much below the plan in terms of my gross profit, and this explains why the total gross profit is 2.5% below the plan. So it's only top something, right? It could be just like top 5, top 4, or top 6 or whatever products, but then all the rest is here and the total is here, explaining the variance. Very similar here. So use the top N when you do your breakdowns on your landing pages, integrate comments, and also it's also a good idea to set up some buttons for help to onboard users to your landing pages. All right, so this was a quick tour. Just to recap. I have a checklist here, right? So to make sure that you don't forget something, so provide some help to the users. It's good if you have a button here so people can just click and then they get some information how to read this dashboard, the definitions of the KPIs and things like that. All right, then for the navigation, the top slicers, keep it simple here. Do not provide all of the possible filters on the landing page, right? I mean, this typically happens if you have just one dashboard and you have this one size fits all approach and you want to solve, all the users, serve all the users with one dashboard in your company, right? I mean, try to personalize your dashboards, or at least personalize the landing pages, right? And then provide some parameters or something that when the user will open the dashboard, they will see their related, information. And then you don't need all of those slicers because people will first get the information they need, and second, they can filter and click and navigate through the content with through the KPI area with drill throughs and tooltips and so on, right? Or through the other visuals that you have on your page. So the KPI area on the top left of the page, then the breakdowns where you use the top N plus others functionality. Use this, we call it smart tooltips, right? But it's basically a Power BI, so-called Power BI report page tooltip, right? So it's a separate page in Power BI that you just link to any visual. It's a standard practice in Power BI. It's quite easy to set up, and we really recommend to use those filters to provide further breakdowns directly in the tooltip. Then the drill through buttons, in the KPI area or in other visuals, and integrate comments. Try to make the comments dynamic, so when people click, they will see the most relevant short little comments on their landing pages. All right, hopefully that made sense. So that would be our recommendation on how to structure your landing pages in Power BI. All right, now a couple of more examples. So we saw this like a executive type of dashboard. As you see, it also has a comment here. The dynamic comments appear here. There can be multiple comments or just one comment, but it's quite important that this information shows up, especially for the like executive dashboards. It's really important. Also then for maybe for financial folks and more executive end users, they typically want to see the performance of month-to-date performance and year-to-date performance and the full year performance, like on the same page, on the same visual, so they can compare it. All right, you know, this month it's like this, and then year-to-date it's like this, and we'll end the year, you know, with this forecasted value probably, right? So it's the holy three, you know, calculation periods that you know, people typically need, and it's great if you can just put them together in a table like this, right? So this is a Zebra BI table visual, and of course then you can present it in a simpler way like this, or maybe more in a you know, maybe with more information, or even simpler, like more of a table-like approach. But you know, try to visualize at least the absolute variances in a table, because this is what really guides my attention here. Okay, so we saw this. We saw a couple of examples with the sales dashboards. I have another one here that might be interesting. Let me just show you another idea here. So the sales pipelines, so the CRM dashboards, sales funnels, sales pipelines. These people get quite creative when it comes to sales pipelines. So did we. So we tried to you know, come up with an example here. So this one now has the sales pipeline here with, you know, one revenue and weighted pipeline, and you know, your typical KPIs that you you know, your stages of your sales funnel, basically from the bottom, like maybe from the web traffic, then to your leads, opportunities, and so on, right, going up. And then this information, again, you try, maybe you have a plan for that, plan for the revenue, and so on. So you can again try to compare it, even though it's not a financial report, right? Set your goals, set your benchmarks, and then put them into the visual. So you have your sales funnel, and then you have your conversion rates, right, from one stage to another stage. So this is now an idea just to put them side by side, but then also provide, you know, the trends here, so that people understand, is my, you know, what are the trends telling me, and so on, right? Okay, and again, this works in a similar way, right? Now I can just filter here. So now I see my revenue, I see the one revenue in a big chart, and then I see maybe top 15 clients that we have won. I see the average, you know, average revenue per client here in the chart, on the same chart, and I see the trend here. Maybe do the same for the pipeline, or for the, you know, opportunities, and so on, right? So it's basically the same idea. Not a lot of filters there, but through the content, just by clicking on certain elements, you gain understanding. And then, of course, if you need details, you know, you then drill through a detailed sales report or sales pipeline report by, you know, your account manager, salespeople, and so on. All right, so hopefully those examples were a little bit inspiring. So now maybe you're wondering, well, how did I do that in Power BI? So everybody who is following us already understand that this is the Zebra BI tables visual, right, where you have full control over your columns and tables and cross tabs, and then you can visualize stuff in matrix. In this you know, beautiful matrix visual, it has the top N options and so on. And this is the Zebra BI charts visual, right? You're also familiar with that one. It handles the small multiples and so on. But then we had this missing piece that is now here. All right, so this is now the big reveal. This is the Zebra BI cards visual. Okay, so this is the new visual that we have just released. It is actually already on the app source. I'll explain that. And we are very proud that we actually made that. We had a lot of requests from our users to create something like this, because creating presenting KPIs in Power BI is quite a challenge. Actually, you don't have a lot of options to visualize your KPIs, the performance of your KPIs in a really good way. So we had a lot of requests during the last few years, and so finally it's out. So let me maybe just show you quickly how the visuals themselves work. Okay, so let me make a short demo, how to construct your KPIs and so on. So I'll just start with the visual. And all right, we'll add some data, maybe this is some actual data, maybe sales and something. And then I'll add my KPIs. All right. I got the big annoying numbers, right? So this is what typically people do in Power BI. So you have this card visual here, which actually just shows one big number, right? But then you also have this one, which is called a multi-row card. It shows multiple KPIs, but then it's so, it's so limited in terms of comparisons and so on. And then you do have this one that also, shows the trend, but it does not show multiple KPIs, right? So with the Zero BI cards visual, you get all this. And okay, right now I only have the big annoying numbers, okay? And it will make much more sense when I add additional measures. So when I start comparing, right, to previous year, to plan. All right, that's comparison to previous year. Then comparison to plan. Boom. Okay. We are now getting somewhere. So now I see the number, but I also have the comparison versus previous year versus plan. Of course, I have a lot of settings here, so I can show just the relative variance or the absolute variance. You will also see that the visual shows some icons, but there are not just red and green circles everywhere. There are red and green circles where the size of the circle actually corresponds to the size of the variance, to the extent of the variance, which means that if I'm 14% below the plan here, this circle will be much bigger than this one, where I only have 2.8% below the plan, right? So my visual attention will be guided here immediately, and even more so, in the visualization here, in the chart here. So of course you have different options for the chart. Maybe for this simple option, I would probably go for the lipstick chart, right? Something like that, probably. Of course, you can also just suppress charts and just clean cards, use clean cards like this. And then if you have it very clean, then you can actually, increase your information density. This is quite ambitious already, right? But, I probably have 50 KPIs now here. All right, back to the charts, because I'm trying to make a point now. The visualizations, of course, are quite important, because, sorry, no cards, where's my card? So back to my charts now. Okay, if I added also a little bit of a trend, then I would gain more understanding. So let's bring in, whoops, my monthly values. So this is my month, okay? All right, maybe not with this chart, this is too heavy now, but for the trends, maybe I would go for area charts, something like this, or maybe waterfall charts could be also good here, right? So you see, it's like if we just choose the area. So now I have the variance, but I also understand the trend, right? Is it like, is is this negative variance here towards the plan, is it like, you know, is my gap to the plan, you know, shrinking, or is it expanding, right? So this little trend line here, of course, can increase the insight a lot for the users who are observing this, right? Okay, so now this visual is very flexible. All right, you saw different examples that I was showing, and now, of course, you can move the cards around just to make sure that, you know, you set them in the right order from the most important one to the least important one, or whatever the structure is. There should be a structure, so think about your sorting in your cards. But what you can do is you can even resize them. All right, so you can resize each individual card here, and then the visual will respond. It's blazingly fast, so, you know, whatever you do, you know, the visual will take care that the labels are, you know, visible. So here you have the first and the last label of the month. Here you have all the monthly labels. Here you don't have them, and it's a little bit cut here because it's a smaller one. If you do it like this, you'll have a trend here. You can individually set on each card. You can choose your charts, right? So maybe this one is more appropriate for certain, I don't know, sales. Actually, for download rates, I would probably go for some linear chart, but then maybe for this is actually a cost. Maybe here I would use the waterfall chart, right? And then the KPIs are like a hard thing in Power BI, and then basically in any BI tool. So, for example, customer acquisition cost, right? So let me just wrap the card title so that everybody can see this. So this is the cost, right? Okay, so now I have a mixture of my KPIs. So your KPIs can be like, you know, currency revenue in million euros, or they can be some percentages like conversion rates in percent, like your on-time delivery in percent. It can be, you know, integer number like quantity, you know, number of units sold and whatnot. It can be something per employee, like cost per employee, EBITDA per employee, and so on. They have very different units, so you need to make sure, you know, to properly design your cards to properly display and format all of your numbers. So, for example, here I can just, you know, set this to dollars. Of course, you know, control how many decimal places and so on, right? Because this is a cost. All right, my costs are actually 4% higher than my plan. Well, is that good or bad? Well, it's actually bad, right? I'm breaking my budget, my cost budget here, right? So let me invert this KPI. Click. Voila, this is the proper visualization now. So the meaning is inverted. That's are growing, but it should be red. Okay. Then sometimes, you know, axis break or not. So you have all of the options here. Back to report, and this is how you basically design your KPIs on each card separately, right? Now the important thing is you can set the actions. Okay, so how do you set now the actions? So the filtering, you know, is already out of the box. You just basically just click on any card, and this will filter other visuals. So this is the, you know, out of the box functionality, much as in other visuals, right? But what you can also do is you can now provide a tooltip. Okay, so I have this tooltip in a separate page, and then you just link it here. So you just go here under the tooltip, and you set it to the type report page, and then choose the page. This is actually my page here, right? So you set this page up, and then you just link this page. Just select this page from the drop down in the tooltip, right? Just put it like this, and then you have it. Voila. Okay, where was I in the actions? Okay, then the drill through. Okay, so customer lifetime value, what's going on? Drill through to KPI details, and now I get the, you know, detailed report where I can, you know, just dive into the details, gain understanding what's going on. All my e-bikes here are below the plan slightly. When I click, I get, you know, what's going on here, or maybe this one, the fruits, and so on, and the standard details, you know, back to my landing page. All right. As you can also see, I have some comments here. Oh, great. This is a comment marker, so-called, and I already have a comment. Why? Because this visual supports dynamic comments. So without this, it shows all the information, but not the comments, right? So if you bring comments in, you will find this placeholder for the comments. So simply bring your comments. This is a, you know, simple text field, a little text table, and we just put the comment text into the visual, and it will be displayed here directly on the visual and in the tooltip. But then if the user just expands this, he will see all the information along with the comments. All right, so the comments are inside, and maybe another thing, the row layout. Okay, so we had this layout with, you know, the tiles. Basically, you can flip to the row layout. So this is sometimes, you know, this is, you need something like this. Okay, and again here you can just reshuffle all of your KPIs and so on, and then you have the spark lines here, and you have different types of spark lines, different types of charts, so you can flip between different chart types and so on, also in the row layout. And also, if you click on the elements themselves, you can change, you can toggle between the display of the relative variance or the absolute variance, or both. Or you can, if you click on this big annoying number, you can even flip the display from like to display the last point in your data or the total. So this is my total, but actually for the download rate, I would probably just follow the last point, right? So it makes more sense. So it's just one click away, and you can do this separately for any KPI. So you can monitor the, you know, total revenue, and then for certain conversion rates or something like that, just follow the last data point, and then actually Zebra BI will detect automatically what is my last available period, right? So in this case, you know, this is my total, but then if I click here, it's actually June, right? So Zebra BI actually detects what is the last actual value in your cart, and then you can simply display it like this. All right, maybe the last thing for this demo, before I close this demo, the scaling. Okay, so I'll just remove this. Okay, when you present your information with charts, the scaling is very important. Okay, so right now I'm seeing I have my new monthly revenue, monthly recurring revenue versus churned monthly recurring revenue, and I have two charts. They look kind of, you know, similar. All right, but are they similar? I mean, there's quite a difference between the charts, and that's why we have this functionality of actually selecting the charts that should be rendered to the same scale. So if you expect that people will compare this type of revenue with this type of revenue, okay, then you create this so-called scaled group. Okay, you create this, and from now on, these two charts will be scaled. Right now, understand that, okay, there's 1.6 billion revenue here, and the churned revenue is much smaller than the new revenue, which is great information, right? Before when I did not scale them, I did not really understand. All the charts are very big, and basically they look more or less the same, right? And now I gained this understanding, you know, how much is my churned revenue versus my new revenue, and so on. Similarly for the costs. So I have the average cost per customer here, and then customer acquisition costs. And all right, there are some trends. I mean, this one is going up, this one is going down. Maybe if I do it like in waterfall chart, it will be even more obvious. Okay, so I have certain trends like this, but you know, what happens if I actually scaled them? All right, so now these two charts are scaled. This one is 100K, this one is 39K. I understand that, you know, the average cost per customer is higher than this one. Okay, it's much higher than this one. It actually, now I gain this understanding. All right, my average cost per customer is just, wow, exploding, going up. And, you know, I don't really know why, because my customer acquisition costs basically stayed more or less, you know, on the same level. So it's not that. So it must be something else that should explain this. So maybe I should bring in another KPI explaining this, right? So, but the point is, you can create as many scaled groups and just select the you know, cards, the KPIs that should be grouped together, and then this visual will just make sure that they are always rendered to the same scale, no matter what you do. Even if you have different types of charts among them, you know, you will always have the right visualization. Okay, like this. Perfect. Okay, of course, the visual supports the bookmarks and so on, so you can do stuff like, you know, hide charts and show charts and stuff like that, right? So all settings are fully bookmarkable and so on. Great. This was a quick run through. I would like to leave some space, some time for the Q&A. It's the very special webinar today. I mean, the year is approaching its end, but you know, that's I would say the right reason for us to make it a special occasion today. So before we dive into the Q&A section, let's give Mark some time. If you have, you know, any questions, now is the time to type them into your questions box, and we'll tackle the questions. I will stay online for quite some time, you know, as long as we have questions today. Let's make it a special day. So either with our big reveal, so with the Zebra BI cards, or any of other you know, tips that I was explaining, please do ask me, and we'll follow that. After these two things now, first of all, the visuals are available on the app source. The Zebra BI cards visual is already available on the app source. However, because it is so new, you still cannot import it directly from your Power BI. So basically, for this visual, for the Zebra BI cards, you actually need to go to your App Store's website from Microsoft, and then you can download it from there. But we think, or we hope, that in a couple of days from today, the visual will also be available for direct import into your Power BI. The basic version is free, and in the free version, with the free license, you can actually do a lot, really a lot. So we made it quite open. But then, of course, with the Pro license, you can get also the support and a couple of features, additional features.
The first question was, does the visual work with other formats? So, for example, time, duration formats, or percentage formats, currencies, the Zebra BI cards?
Yeah. I have shown a couple of options. So you can format the percentages. Actually, it's very smart. So if you can use the percentages. So I'm just sharing back. Let me see if I can just quickly show this to you. All right. Okay, do I have some percentages here somewhere? Not sure if I have them, but okay. So let's say that this is a percentage, right? So you can just quickly format it here as a percent, and then the Zebra BI will we'll know that this KPI is a percentage, and we'll also display the absolute variance here in percentage point. You see PP. So it's kind of yeah, definitely you can set different types of units, and you can set it to different, currencies, symbols, and so on, right? So this is already in the first version, and then in the next versions we plan to support even more, number formats. So basically, all of the meaningful number formats. I mean, for the whole world. So yes.
Okay. So the next question was, can you set the scaling of the chart? So can you set certain charts to be on the same scale?
Yeah, I did show that. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, this is one of the, I believe this is one of the strongest, I mean, at least for me, right? I'm a data visualization professional, so I'm actually very, very happy. It's my favorite feature within this visual, right? So as you can see, you can have several groups of visuals with the same scaling, and the number of those groups is unlimited. Okay, so you can have 20 different groups of visuals that will have share the same axis.
Okay, so some of the existing users were also anxious to know, is this new visual part of the existing licensing package?
Yes, that's the best news. I can confirm that actually today that yes, the price will not increase. So we have a very simple pricing strategy, and we will keep it simple as well. So we want to make sure that everybody gets really high added value from everything that we do, not just for the visuals, because for that few dollars per month, you actually get also the technical support. So now you will get 3 visuals instead of 2, and for the existing users, you will just be able to use it. I mean, you are able to use it right now, right? So you can go there, download it, and then you have your license keys, and they will work with the new visual as well. And that's it. Very simple. So we have just added, more added value, and then of course also the technical support is there. If you go now to our knowledge base, you will see that there are articles, there are new articles there, new videos on the knowledge base about the cards, how to consolidate your KPIs, how to bring them into one dimension, to make sure that it's fast and snappy, and all of that. So it's already out there. Just head over to ZebraBI website, and you'll see all of those reports, resources.
Yes, and this also answers the next question, actually, because people were wondering how you were able to actually drag just the KPI and place it, all those separate measures in one field. So
yeah. Okay, great. That's a great question that will probably take another webinar. Actually, that's a really great idea for the next webinar. So but we already have the answer. So let me just guide you real quick. If I just flip to, all right. I need to move my camera back, and all right, this is the app source, by the way. So now you can see the 3 visuals on the app source. So this is appsource.microsoft.com. Here's the ZebraBI cards. Just click get it now, and then you'll be able to download it and import it into your Power BI. All right, then we have the ZebraBI webpage, where you will find the answer on how to consolidate your KPIs. So how do you put them into the text dimension? So just before I show you, okay, so as you can see here, I have all of my KPIs listed here. So it's basically just one table with my KPIs. So I can actually show this to you. Okay, so this is actually a very simple table with my KPIs. So what you need to achieve somehow is, from all of your measures and fact tables and so on, just to put collect all of your KPIs into one single table. And this is called unpivoting in Power BI. And there are several techniques how you can do that. You can do that with Power Query. You can do this with DAX, with a switch statement and a disconnected table. So just type this table somewhere and then use a DAX formula to make it work in your reports, right? But the basic thing is you need to just create this table of KPIs with probably KPI ID and the KPI, and maybe also KPI group, right? That will serve for grouping of your KPIs, and then you'll be able to do this. Okay, of course you'll be also be able to like filter them. So if you have like a KPI group, you can now filter the KPIs, like maybe just my financial KPIs, and then my, I don't know, product metrics, happiness scores, and whatever your groups are. They can be areas of business. They can be people that are responsible for certain KPIs because filter them here, and so on, right? So back to the question, for the details on how to do this in Power BI exactly, please head over to the help section of our website and then navigate to the Power BI knowledge base. All right, this is the knowledge base that we have, and here, if you will search for cards or KPIs or something, you will find the you see like basic cards, scale groups. Okay, sorry, these are the scale groups. So you'll find the article here. So one of those articles. Okay, this is the Power Query part, and then you have the other one. So just search here. And
so yes, all the materials regarding the cards and how to set them up will be provided here at the knowledge base. And also, yes, the cards do support Power BI calculation groups, so you can use those as well, both for the measures and the KPIs. So yes.
Right. Actually, Mark was the one who did the videos for the for those articles. So you will see Mark when you head over to the knowledge base. I just wanted to add that, of course, you can also use the Zebra BI cards visual as a single card visual, right? I mean, you can just put in your measure and compare it to your previous year and plan. Whatever this is, you will get it, and it will be responsive, and you can also add the trends and everything, right? And show charts or do not show charts, and so on, right? You can do this as well.
Okay, so looking at the time, maybe we can have 2 or 3 more questions. So there was also a request of, could you please go a little deeper in this last period detection? So how does this work?
Okay. Well, in the end, it's very simple for the end user, because now the visual here is completely interactive, and you can like change chart types and so on, but then you can also change the variance calculations, so what is displayed as a variance. And also, if you click here on this big annoying number, so on the big number, you toggle between the last available period in your card and the total amount. Okay, the total amount can be year to date or can be full year, depending on what you put in the visual. So in this example, I have the year and the month. Okay, so I basically have the month, and I have all of my month up until October, right? Because maybe it's filtered, or I just have up until October at this point. So the visual detected when you click, the visual actually detected that this is the last point. This is very simple in this case, where all of my values are for October, right? So if you remove this, right, then then this does not make any sense, right? So then if you just click, you will just basically hide it, right? But in this case, which is actually more realistic case, right? You can have your, let me enlarge this one. Okay, so you have the plan for the full year, okay? And then you have your actuals up until the current month. Okay, right now it's, you know, December, but let's say we're in the middle of the year somewhere. So the actuals will automatically be displayed up until June for this KPI. Okay, maybe you have another KPI that, you know, where the data hasn't arrived yet, and then you will just see data up until May for this specific KPI, right? And for each card, for each KPI separately, the visual then detects what is the last available period in the data, basically the period which is not null. Okay, so that's the, you know, most technical answer, right? If it's empty, you know, then Zebra BI understand that this is rest of the year, right? So it has this detection, right? Of course, if you have just maybe missing data here, Zebra BI will still detect that June is the right ending period, right? So it's, you know, it has an algorithm within this to detect the latest period. So it's completely automatic.
Okay, maybe just quick 2 questions more. So how do you get the comments into the cards?
Yeah, great question. Well, I mean, how to get them into the cards visual, it's straightforward. You just take your comments and, you know, drop them into the visual. Wow. And this is completely out of the box. You will have it here. And then when the usual use the, you know, focus mode, it will be here in this neat little comment box and so on. So basically the hardest part here is how to actually bring those comments into your Power BI model, right? Because if you want this to work with multiple KPIs and everything, then you need to bring the comments into your Power BI model. Okay, this is the best way on how to do it, because if you have them in your Power BI model, okay, so see, I have my table with my data, right? My sales data table or something, or data on my KPIs, but then I have another table with my comments. And this is a very simple table. It's the table with, you know, the comments for certain, you know, KPI. This is my ID of my KPI, right? And it's also marked with a date, okay? So that the visual then can relate on, you know, to which period this comment is actually related, right? So you need to bring this table into your Power BI model. That's the key thing. And we have actually 2 webinars on this topic. So if, again, you head over to the Zebra BI website, navigate to resources, you will see the webinars, okay? So all of our webinars are recorded. This is number 34. So you will find, you know, 33 recordings already here on the page, and there's a lot of interesting stuff here. So a lot of tips and tricks. So this is dynamic commentary in Power BI. This is the one, and just, you know, just watch it. So it's on demand, it's free. So and there's the whole technique how to, you know, prepare them, how to bring them into Power BI. It's a little bit more technical, but everybody can do it. There's another one on how to do this in a way that you can then actually type or enter the comments within Power BI, so the write back commentary. So we have two webinars on this topic. Just head over to zebrabi.com and then webinars.
Okay, and maybe we can finish the last question with a segue to what is coming. So the interaction controls for the end users. Are the end users able to switch the layout or control parts of the cards visual?
Yes, the answer is yes. So by default, the end user can change basically everything. So they can even in the view mode they can change this, but of course it will not be saved, right? So at the time when you save it and publish this report, this will be the default view. Now the end user will see this, but they will still be able to, I don't know, to do something like this, just temporarily to, you know, increase something, you know, check it out, or, you know, maybe view the data in another chart type, or put this to the focus mode, do of course the drill through and all of that. So by default, this is enabled, right? And in one of the next updates, we will also add interaction settings. So you have you have settings here, and of course you also have the design settings for, you know, colors and everything. But what you will also get is there will be a separate group of settings where you, as the Power BI designer, the report author, will have complete control. What do you allow the end users in the view mode? Okay, so we have this in our other visuals, and there will be the same functionality also in Zero BI cards in one of the next versions. Our backlog is already full for the next year, so you'll see a lot of updates for the cards visual. It's not done yet, so we have great plans, even better ideas.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, and also maybe, is it possible to sort visuals by the degree of deviation from budget plan? Right now, this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Right now, it is well, but technically, I would say it is possible. So now the regarding sorting, when you first create the visual and you drop in your KPIs, the visual will actually take the custom order of your KPIs from your Power BI model. All right. So if you have a KPI dimension, like I have it here, and then if for your KPIs you don't have any special sorting, they will be actually sorted by the alphabet. All right. But then you can create your custom sort in the Power BI model. So that's one option you have, and I strongly recommend you do that. So, you know, sort your KPIs from, you know, 1 to whatever 100 in the order of importance or something like that. Okay, so you can just use this custom order, and this custom order can be like a standard order. Like, okay, first the net revenue, then the, you know, costs of goods sold, and so on and so on. It can be something else. It can be another sort order, and you can probably make it also dynamic in some way, right? So if you just again, if you head to our knowledge base, you will see some ideas on how to set the custom order of elements in your Power BI model. So that's first part of the answer. And then the second part of the answer is we will also add additional options on the visual itself for sorting, like sort by the relative variance, absolute variance. We even have some, you know, more advanced ideas on automated filtering of the KPIs based on the variance, you know, like top N options and so on, but even smarter ones. So you will see that in you know, in next versions of the visual, in next updates in the new year. All right, Mark.
Yeah.
I think we'll need to close up. Let's select a nice last one.
Yes. Okay. Maybe for the last one, let's also check how we can set up the pop-ups, so the report page tooltips, maybe just to show them on the card. Yeah.
All right, that's quite straightforward. So first of all, you need to create a separate page. So you just basically add another page. Okay. Then you navigate here under page information. Actually, okay, this one you can just leave it. Then here I would recommend the page size. Maybe for start, it's easiest if you just flip to the tooltip. This is just the size of the page that, you know, the page will be small, you know, to show it as a tooltip. So this is it. And what is now the most important thing is, on this page, beside the size, you also need to enable this toggle here. So just, you know, under page information, flip this to on, tooltip on. So from now on, Power BI knows that this is a tooltip page. Okay, now you can drop anything you want onto this page. So, you know, now you can say, all right, I want my my table, and I'll have some actual versus previous year here, and I'll split this by something. Yeah, this time I don't have any meaningful information here. So, okay, this is not a proper visualization, but you know, you just design the tooltip. What do you want to show in the tooltip? And that's it. That's it. This is my page. This is my tooltip page. Now you go back to your visual, and now on each visual separately, click on the visual, go here under settings, navigate under the tooltip. Now make sure that first of all, you have the type set to report page, and then within this page dropdown, when you open it, you will see all of your pages that were marked as a tooltip page, right? So you can have, you know, 10 different tooltip pages. So the one that I just created is page 1, and that's it. When you go back, the visual will already display this, you see. So that's it. First the page, then second, link this page to the visual. Also, again, if you need to do this slowly, head over to our knowledge base. We have an article on this topic. Great, guys.
Yes.
All right. Well, once again, thank you all for attending our webinar. Of course, I invite you already to stay with us. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our LinkedIn page and so on, because we will announce a lot of things in the next year. And of course, among them, there will be new webinars in the Zebra BI webinars series. So see you in the next year. Cheers, guys.